Hey all, Pi here, and we are back in Without Romance. And I'm gonna go ahead and be honest, if I sound a little bit more out of breath today, that is because I am recovering from not yet bronchitis, but they gave me all the shit to treat bronchitis, so, you know, good stuff. And I technically shouldn't be recording at all right now. Don't tell my wife. Anyway, let's get into it. Frantic footsteps ring out down the hallway, their owner flying from one room to the next. A quick glance at her wrist brings a subtle frown to her face. Ruth? Wren's attendant turns to face me, her worry dissipating in the blink of an eye. If I hadn't just seen it for myself, I would never have guessed anything was wrong. Oh, Risa, how good to see you. You caught me at a difficult time. You didn't happen to pass Sir Wren on your way, did you? I shake my head. What's the matter? Is there something I can do? A moment of hesitation and another glance at her watch is all it takes. If you would be so kind, it's not terribly pressing, only some papers to be signed, but I have my own schedule to keep. Shall I find him for you? Relief wells in Ruth's eyes, but never cracks her composed visage. Professional to a fault, but nothing short of excellent in her work. No wonder she's by Wren's side. But then what of me? I'll leave it to you then, Risa. She wastes no time in dashing off, a quick bow offered in parting. What idle thoughts I'd had were scattered. Where would Wren be at a time like this? If it's Wren, it's hardly a question. The first port of call would be his study, and with the sun high in the sky, it would be quite the sight. I stride towards his study, bouncing with every step. Maybe I'm getting to know him better than I thought. Muffled voices reach my ears from down the hallway. One clearly Wren, but the other... He sounds happy. As indifferent as I am to my future husband, a smile creases my face. Everybody deserves some joy in life. I slide up to the door, peeking through the gap. Inside, a pair of figures shine in the light, a deep warmth embracing them. Are you sure you have time for me now, Wren? Last I visited, you told me your schedule... Nothing that can't wait, Rose. You needed to see me, didn't you? There it is. The warm tone that I've never been given. The tone tinged with sadness. The atmosphere is heavy enough to root me to the spot outside. Though Ruth has trusted me to find Wren, I feel in my heart that I shouldn't. No, I mustn't step in. It's been a while since we enjoyed the sun like this, hasn't it? About 2 years. It feels so long ago, and yet like only yesterday. Wren. Her golden locks bounce as she spins on her companion, his eyes widening as the rays of light set her aglow. I don't dare breathe. The deathly silence that hangs in the air as she calls his name smothers all. Are you happy like this? He looks past Rose, avoiding her gaze. I always enjoy these evenings. Wren. His gaze is pulled back to her unwavering eyes. How many more evenings like this might we have? As things are, it won't last forever. Rose steps closer. I'm happy for you, Wren. You found somebody who can share your burden. Rose. Does she make you happy? Wren's gaze drops. She's what's best for the Yamato family. What I desire doesn't matter. I won't become my brother. Don't talk like that. Rose snaps back at him, his gaze shooting back to meet hers. You might not think there's more to life than your family, Ren, but don't sacrifice yourself. Then what am I supposed to do? You don't know what it's like having your older brother walk out on you. To hear his decision to elope as he looks you dead in the eye. For the first time in my life, I hear Ren raise his voice and flinch. Yet the girl before him stands strong, taking on his rage. Do you know what his eyes told me? Sorry. He made it clear to me then and there I'd lost. He sacrificed my future, our future, so he could live his own. Honestly, I think you're mad at the wrong person, kid. Because it's not your brother who chose this life for either of you. It's kind of in the same way. If you grew up in an abusive household and you're the oldest and you manage to get out first, it's not your fault that your siblings are stuck there. You didn't have the power to do anything more for them than you had already done. Sorry, this is getting heavy. Let's get back into this. Rose's eyes widen. I'm sorry, Ren. For what? None of this is your fault, Rose. I really blew it, didn't I? If I'd won this election, but you didn't. No amount of regret will change that now. Ren's voice strains as he forces out the words he doesn't want to say. Hey, Ren. Yes, Rose? Can you see us standing here, just like this in 10 years? In 30? We couldn't. The head of Yamato's entertaining a former candidate in private for so many years. It would be scandalous. Not if I wasn't a former candidate. She steps closer, closing what little distance still remains between them. I'm sure I wouldn't make a bad wife. My throat runs dry as I refuse to even swallow, lest I make a sound. Should I interrupt? If I don't, then what becomes of me, of my family? But what of Rose? I find myself mouthing traitorous words. If only I back down, then Rose would be able to take my place. Stuck in limbo, I find myself unable to call out and unable to walk away. Truly, how pathetic I am. I gave my word to my family, Teresa. To not follow through would be a shame upon the Yamatos. I know. Rose takes a deep breath, drawing her shoulders back. I've always known your pride would come first, but somehow I found myself drawn to that side of you too. Say, Ren. She stretches out a hand, gently grasping Ren's arm. His own fingers reach for hers, but curl away. What is it, Rose? Can I ask you for one last favor? Of course. Oh. With eyes closed, she leans into Ren until their lips meet. And yet I feel not 1 ounce of jealousy, no desire. The pair remain for what feels like a lifetime. So slowly do mere seconds pass before my eyes, and then a cold shiver shoots down my spine. Ren opens her eyes, meeting mine. How long had she known? Had Ren known? My head is spinning as my pulse races. But as if nothing had happened, Rose closes her eyes once more for the final moment of her embrace with Ren. As she draws away, I can't see if Ren follows. Part of me doesn't want to know. They finally separate, Rose taking 3 steps back. Neither dared to make a sound lest they break the spell. There is only one recourse. Giving them a few moments, I pick myself up. Okay, Risa, you've got this. And enter the room. Oh, Ren, so you were hiding here after all. Ruth sent me to attend my duties, I'm aware. Then it would be best I don't keep her. Thank you, Risa. With heavy words, Ren walks from the room. Ren. I watch him leave, my back turned on the girl who'd just spilled her heart out. Words abandoned me. As Ren vanished beyond the doorway, her whispers fills the room. That must have given you quite the show. I didn't want to interrupt the two of you. How thoughtful. Her eyes are distant, looking somewhere far away, to something beyond her reach. A long, tired sigh escapes her lips. Gazing at them only reminds me of their embrace. To be honest with you, Risa. Yes? This is my first time meeting a voyeur. Excuse me, rude. You just kissed my fiancé and you're calling me a voyeur? My heart really started racing when I saw you. Oh no, she's into that. I can't help but worry you might have awakened something. Can we hurry up and put that behind us? I'm not particularly proud of it, you know. My brows knit together, but Rose only chuckles at my frustration. When her eyes had first met mine through the doorway, I could have sworn a fire burned inside, but the way she spoke... You aren't angry at me for spying on you? Angry? The churning of my stomach makes the wait for her words stretch on and on. Is she doing it to me on purpose? I say forgive and forget. There are worse things to worry about in life, and I'm sure I'd have done the same. I breathe a sigh of relief, only to hear the trademark giggle. I don't think we've ever had much of a chat before, have we? For all the time we spend around one another, it amazes me. I think back to the days we spent skittering about the Yamato estate. Despite me being Ren's fiancé, Rose had dominated his time. I had rarely had a chance to even offer her my greetings, let alone have a leisurely talk. I think you're right. How odd. Isn't it? I couldn't help but smile at the idle chatter, warmth slowly returning to the room. What do you do for fun, Risa? I've been trying gardening lately myself, but I'm loath to admit it, but I think my name is the closest I'll get to that talent. Me too. I choked back a laugh, but not well enough for Rose's keen eyes, a grin breaching her face. That's a surprise. I'd have thought you'd be a natural. If only. I'm sure you're a magnificent gardener, Risa. Gardening, huh? My eyes turned to Ren's garden. With not so much as a single leaf out of place, I can't even begin to imagine the work that goes into maintaining it. Rose tilts her head softly to one side, regarding me curiously. You've never tried? I've never had the chance. Our home doesn't have a garden after all. Oh, I see. That's quite a shame. Although before long, I'm sure you could have an entire field to yourself if you wished. Lucky. Rose's lips twist into a wry smirk. There's a lot of luck in this world, and if it finds me, or my family, I'd be a fool to refuse it. Well, it certainly seems you'll be living a good life. How nice it will be. My body stiffens. The fire is back, burning inside her eyes as fiercely as before. I clench my fist until my knuckles turn white, fighting to hold what courage I can muster. I could want nothing more than warmth for the parents who gave me everything. My, how touching. It really brings a tear to the eye. Rose dabs at the corner of her eye, dry as bone. So she's that kind of bitch. Do you stop to think what it costs along the way, Risa? To be chosen by the Yamatos despite your humble roots, it's nothing short of fantasy. To meet your prince, for it to be love at first sight. Oh wait, that's not quite right, is it? Rose. I guess my future with Ren just wasn't meant to be. My mouth runs dry. What can I say? She's a necessary casualty. She'll find somebody new. Don't think I like seeing you two apart. Rose's eyes twitch. And yet you still toss us aside. For what? Money? There's plenty of money in the world, but only so many soulmates. Don't you see that? Pain flares up my hand, my nails digging into my skin. She's not wrong. In fact, if anybody is in the wrong, it's me for being so selfish. So me personally, I could never do what Risa is doing. I've had the opportunity, but I couldn't go through with locking somebody down knowing that I was never going to love them that way. But also, I have other alternatives to maintaining myself and my family. So I can't judge her too much, but I still couldn't do what she's doing. For asking so much, and yet I won't apologize. You're sacrificing Ren's future for your own. Doesn't that bother you? Don't doom Ren to a loveless life when you're nothing but a gold digger. I feel a punch to my gut with her trailing words. She's right. For the sake of my family, I would sacrifice Ren's love with Rose 100 times over. If it means having the money for a good life, there is nothing I won't do. And yet, part of me knows I'm being greedy. No matter how my heart might waver, I won't falter. Some chances are too precious to let slip by. A bang shoots out as the door flies open, and the doorway stands Ren, his eyes trained on the ground between us. You're back. That didn't take long. With my words, I unwittingly undo the magic that had bound him to that spot. His eyes regain focus. He strides towards Rose. No, surely. Ren, wait. I shoot out a hand, but he slips by too quickly until... This house doesn't welcome those who would badmouth our family. Ren, she didn't. You're soon to be part of the Yamato family, Risa. That's how things are decided, and no matter what some might wish. His voice catches slightly in his throat, but he continues, forcing the words out. No matter what some might wish, that's how it will be. I'm sure you can find your way out, Rose, or shall I have Ruth escort you? The girl clutches her cheek, refusing to let tears spill from her eyes as she stares defiantly back at Ren. In that moment, I can tell she holds a strength that I could never dream of. I'm sorry, Ren. Goodbye. Goodbye. Such are the final words between the two. I mean, she knows Ren well enough at this point to know that the things that she was saying to Risa would have pissed him off. Like, that's not something that he ever would have allowed if he had been in the room, which is why she waited for him to leave the room to say them. So, like, I understand where she's coming from. I understand why she's angry. I also kind of feel like if you do the wrong thing for a justifiable reason, it's still wrong. Rose is gone, never looking back. Unable to see how Ren's eyes follow her departure or how they shine in the light, I walk to his side, staying a few steps back. He keeps clenching his fist, open, closed, but the shaking won't stop. I'm sorry. If I'd handled things better. You too. Huh? Ren, what do you... I have work to finish by tonight. Ruth is relying on me. Even as his eyes refuse to meet mine, the lie in his voice rings loud and clear. The sight of Ren's back is haunting. Once so strong, so confident, is now shriveled, his gaze lingering on his stinging hand. Tomorrow, then. I wait for parting words or a wave of a hand. When it's clear there will be no such sign, I leave the room. Wiping the mist from my glasses, I fight the burning in my eyes. I mean, what did you expect? The house is quiet. For such a large estate, that might not be so unusual, but still, I take a pause as I step inside on my daily visit. Is it worth my time? I'm not sure. For days, I've not heard a sound from Ren. The sound of his hand. I rub my arm, a chill running through my body. So, if only I'd thought things through more. Risa, are you okay? Eh? Standing before me, Ruth regards me with a good deal of confusion. When did she... Forget it, it doesn't matter. What am I doing, turning up only to space out? Oh, it's you, Ruth. Sorry, I've a lot on my mind lately. Ruth flashes me an understanding smile. Even though she hadn't been party to the events surrounding Rose's departure, she's watched over Ren for long enough to pick up the signs. I take it you're here for Ren today, too. Is he taking visitors? The past couple of visits I've arrived only to pace outside Ren's study. Seeing him sit alone, whatever words I'd wanted to give him had vanished from my mind. Would he even want to see me? That fear had kept me distant, even as he suffered. She turns her head, glancing towards what could only be Ren's location. Ears turn over and over before she lets out a steadying breath. It seems I've forgotten. Whatever had he said? Ruth? I'm sure he'd said something, but... Oh dear, how unlike me. Ruth is doing shenanigans. It would seem in all the extra work I have, it slipped my mind. Ruth hangs her head in shame. She smiles as she spins her back to me, pacing away into the depths of the estate. Thank you, Ruth. For forgetting my duties? For a future member of the Yamatos, you'd do better to chastise me, Risa. The usual composed Ruth unceremoniously waves her hand in parting. She's a mystery all of her own, but one I'll have to unravel another day. In that case... She looked towards the study, right? I turned to follow where Ruth's eyes had pointed moments ago. There's only one room where Ren would be, the very room I've hesitated to enter ever since that day. Really, causing her so much trouble. I'll have to complain on Ruth's behalf when I see him. To make her worry is utterly unfair of him. A familiar doorway looms before me. My fingers curl away from the handle as I reach towards it, my heart jumping in my chest. This won't be like last time. I open the door as quietly as I can, taking great care to close it behind me. Across the room, a lonely back faces me. One step, two. On my third, I am made to pause. Ruth, do you need something? I'm busy. Surely whatever it is can wait. His eyes briefly move from the ground of the garden to the clouds scrolling by above. Through our silence, he regards them with what I can only imagine is a great indifference. And I thought I'd told her I didn't want guests. How bothersome. You're lucky to have her by your side. Do you intend to turn me away? No. In a way, I'm glad to see you. This house has felt terribly empty of late. I close the distance between us as his eyes return to rest on his lap once more. Where the hell are his parents? Because we haven't seen them since the beginning. Like, is this his house specifically? Like, his family lives somewhere else? Is that what's going on? 'Cause that's weird. At least for what I'm assuming is a Japanese family. So they tend to be more about, like, keeping it within the family, and this whole setup feels very traditional in that sense. I don't know, I'm rambling. Sitting beside Ren, their target becomes clear. I made it hard for you to talk to me recently. I'm sorry for that, Risa. To have acted so pathetically. It's unlike me. His fingertips curl with his words. If anybody should apologize, it should be me. If it weren't for my suggestion, this would never... Do you really think you can absolve me of my mistakes? No, Risa. I did what I did to protect the Yamato name. You're soon to be a Yamato, just as I am. To tolerate such belittlement. Ren's voice cracks. But at the price of your own happiness? I can't just accept that, Ren. But even when I tried to help, I just drove you further apart. A chuckle breaks from Ren's lips. How can you find this funny? You're my bride-to-be. Wouldn't you say you were just doing your job? Magnificently at that. But I'm only here for my own gain. I can never give you the future that Rose could. Ren's hand twitches at her name. You're right. But is there anything wrong with that? He turns his gaze on me, his eyes peering into the depths of mine. Our union... It's a business transaction. Nothing more, nothing less. Something to benefit both parties. You're right, Risa. I can't imagine I'll ever come to love you as I did Rose. But I can provide you with a home, and your family with security. And in turn, I'll carry on the Yamato lineage. See? A fair trade to my eyes. So don't let anybody speak of you that way again. To run your name through the dirt is to disgrace the Yamatos, to disgrace your family. A wry grin comes my way, one I can't resist returning. It's so laughable, yet with this, my family's future is assured. They'll never have to worry again. I laugh. All that talk as a child of a prince to whisk me away to happiness. Will my parents be proud? Or will they condemn me for putting them first? A family for a family. To protect my own, I will carry on the Yamato bloodline. If my life were told as a fairy tale, what form would it take? Would it commend me for my dedication? Celebrate my sacrifices in the name of the greater good? Or would I be a cautionary tale, a fable against throwing away your future? Only time would tell how the story of the selfish princess might unfold. Of the girl who gave herself to a loveless life, a future without romance. Oh. I guess that's it. Yep, that's it. I'm pretty sure there were absolutely no choices in this game whatsoever. I don't remember seeing a single option screen pop up. And I'm not mad about that, because I feel like the type of story they were trying to tell, if they had given you too much agency, it would be so tempting to completely derail it, because I imagine most people would not choose this for themselves. I don't know, I like it. It's very bittersweet, and it makes sense why these characters are behaving in the way that they are. It's just very well done. I appreciate good storytelling when I see it, and well-made characters, and like a well-crafted narrative on the whole, I suppose you could say. But anyway, that is all the power I have left in my lungs, so I'm gonna cut it here. Probably should not do any more recording today, but I hope you have enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you have not already, please consider subscribing, leave a like if you like the video, leave a comment if you have something to share, and if you would like to support me financially, please consider checking out my Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you can get early access to all of my regular videos. And for everyone else, I just hope to see you again in the next one.